Hello and welcome to SteamLUG Cast, Season 2, Episode 5. I'm feeling a bit crappy, so excuse my voice. We also have DerRidda.
Hello.
And a new guest, Nemoder.
Hey, how you doing?
A bit fluey, so I'm a bit gravelly at the moment. How have you guys been?
Fine so far.
Pretty good.
Okay, what have you been playing, DerRidda?
Oh yeah, people might guess that I have been playing more Dota 2, but
Not a surpriser.
I don't know, that kinda comes out of left field. And Papers, Please, since it was released, and I was quite pleased with that game. It is as good as people have been saying it is. But I was also a bit of a sinner and played lots and lots and lots of Rising Storm and Red Orchestra 2 under Windows because I love that game and I want it ported yesterday, please.
Is that via streaming or wind?
Nah, straight up dual boot.
Ah, nice. Very simple. And you, Nemoder?
I'm playing a lot of Guns of Icarus online and a little bit of Heroes of New Earth. It's kind of old school, but they keep updating it and keeping it stable.
I've been playing quite a bit more Rogue Legacy after Swordfisher encouraged me to sort of get back into that. Now I'm actually playing it with a controller. I find it far easier than on the keyboard, which is a surprise to me.
Yeah, I should try that. I have the game, I only played it with keyboard and I just could not get into it.
The thing is, even though it's not particularly a fast-paced game, I think you really have to be quite a bit, you have to maneuver yourself quite a bit better. It's also one of those games that once you get some runes and some armor and, when you've leveled up your character a bit, you're really an awful lot better at it than you are when you start. So I finally managed to defeat that first eyeball boss. I know some people are thinking, what? That should be like a couple of hours into the game, but I couldn't do it. So yeah, some Euro Truck Simulator 2, yay to me. This last weekend, Deadfall Adventures was free to play. Did either of you two play it?
I did. I got a few missions or levels into it, and it just seemed really casual to me. It didn't really tuck me into it. The graphics were really nice, though.
Oh yeah.
I was interested, but I kinda missed it. I just forgot that it was free that weekend.
It's definitely a good-looking game.
But how does it play? It has really bad Metacritic ratings. Not that I give too much of a fart about that, but it is really low.
It's very European.
I have no idea what you mean by that.
They're trying for that big budget sort of game look and feel with, cutscenes, fancy acting and the rest. It feels really stunted. The gameplay is pretty turgid.
It just seemed very mediocre at everything it tried to do. It didn't really stand out.
Yeah, and it's one of those games where they're sort of trying for the Tomb Raider Uncharted-y sort of tomb exploring, but it doesn't excel at any one of those things. So I played through to the chapter where it says you can buy this game now. I think I will pick it up, but not anytime soon. On top of that, for the last event, I played No More Room in Hell. We did get a low turnout for that, but I played with Akko for the last couple of games, and I'm definitely learning, but I don't know, it's going to take a while to improve on that. And this other game, called Portal 2, that's finally released.
Yeah, this obscure indie game nobody even knew would come. Yeah. Well, actually, yeah, Portal 2 is out, and we have played it, and it's good that it's still in beta. I've heard a lot of people that say, oh, I have absolutely no problem with that game. But I was trying with Flibit, and he was crashing on pretty much every map change.
Yeah, that was the weird thing. I went to play with Meklu, and he started up and crashed, and started up and crashed. And he was having other problems with Deadfall, I think, with some forced image settings or something.
Is it mostly the multiplayer that's not stable, or is it not working at all?
He was crashing getting into the game before, sometime in the menu. I don't think it was actually in networking or whatever. But the thing is, I've had it rock solid, full anisotropic filtering and AA, full screen, playing around. I've been really enjoying it, apart from that one room with all the, the white metaballs that you've got to basically spread everywhere. It's got some really good, smooth performance. It doesn't hitch at all. I'm really impressed with it.
Roberto Sec is saying in chat that security enhanced Linux and Portal 2 might not get along, and Flibit was playing on Fedora, and I don't know what Meklu is using.
An awful lot of the source titles do have issues with SE Linux because of libmiles. The initial push of the game on Steam, an awful lot of the audio wasn't working because they'd incorrectly named one of their libraries. They did push an update, but because of the way their Steam pipe works, if you are having audio issues, the best thing to do is to delete libmiles.so and do a verify cache, and it will rebuild that file, and then it will work okay. As for crashing, I have no idea, but SE Linux triggers issues.
Yeah, it's too bad. Well, at least it's still beta, and they're still working on it, so it should be good.
Yep. But we did have a test event for Portal 2. We had quite a few people turn up, and quite a few pairings. I played with Terminator, Rake, tried with Metclue. Who else did I play with? I've forgotten. Quite a few people that I don't normally play with. So yeah, that was good fun. We have Dota 2 coming up on the 14th, which is a Friday. We've got Natural Selection 2 as an event on the 15th, which is a Saturday. And then we have...
Wait.
Oh, sorry, what?
Second, please. Everybody that's interested in Natural Selection 2 and listening right now, try it out ahead of time. They have fixed some issues, but you might still be experiencing them. I would recommend a full reinstall of that game, including all the config files if you had issues in the past. And AMD users, please report in so we can get a gauge of how they are doing. I don't think we have any AMD users here.
Yeah, I noticed definitely clearing out the .config file in your home directory, because even with mods, it won't re-download mods if you have existing mods, so you have to delete those every time, even just to get it to connect.
Yes. So, if you're interested, you still have to do some work. It's still not the best port in the world, and probably never will be, but it has improved a lot.
Definitely.
So, do users still need to opt into a beta branch for that, or is that in the public? Okay, so they've promoted that. And then by the time you're listening to us record the next cast, we'll be playing Team Fortress 2 after that event, and that's on the 21st.
Alrighty. So, let's move on to the news. People might have noticed that there is a new Steam hardware survey up for February, and there are not really any significant changes. Only the second decimal digit has changed. Lost a few points, but the really important bit here is they have finally started to list Linux properly and not group it with Windows anymore, so you can now really see a nice per distribution breakdown as far as they collect that data, and we are recognized as our own OS, as we should be.
I think the most interesting thing is some of the breakdown stats. Hard disks look a bit small between our collection of users, but gaming resolutions and multi-monitor support seems pretty high. I was surprised at that. I'm
really surprised by the system RAM on Linux. 3 GB is the single largest group with 18.83 percentage points. Guys, what's with your megabytes and gigabytes and your ramabytes?
Yeah, I thought that was surprisingly low for Linux guys. You know, you'd think they'd want a bit more for compiling.
Well, in our defense, some of the larger groups are also 7, 8 and more than 12 gigabytes, so...
Well, yeah, the problem is there. They bump up the average, even though that sort of hides the typical size.
I had 4 gig for a long time, and I thought that was really low, and so I upgraded to 16 now, and I don't have any problems with any kind of memory issues anymore.
Video RAM sits at 1 gig. That's 33% of users, and 26% have 2 gig, which that still seems a bit low as well. But I guess with the past games on Linux, they haven't really demanded that much memory, have they?
No.
You have to hope with Natural Selection, Metro, and the rest, it should be encouraging our users to get Meteor graphics cards with more onboard memory. Onboard memory is the best. Go for it.
Of course, a lot of this could be, laptops that people have loaded Linux on, and they're just going to be underpowered no matter what.
To be fair, some really popular NVIDIA cards in the GTX generation were shipping with only 1 gig of video memory, and they are still really good cards, but they have been, I think NVIDIA has been a bit low on the video memory in their 600 series. There's
no sort of indication if this is broken out between sort of Optimus sort of onboard and dedicated, is there? It doesn't sort of appear to be. So I mean, it might be that Intel's sort of higher up just because it's the one that's reported or something, I don't know.
Yeah, it's true that doesn't Optimus have like per game launch, so Steam itself would say it's Intel, but then once the game starts it switches over.
Yeah, and that's possibly why Intel HD 4000 is at nearly 6%. That's pretty high.
But from what I've heard, a lot of people really are sitting on these cards, and they are well supported in Linux, with the open source driver being pretty much the only and the official driver. So I would understand why people go for it, and they are in every cheaper laptop that's out there.
Yep. So NVIDIA does pretty well on this breakdown. In the first ATI cards under 1%, the 6850. I mean, it's great that they're finally breaking out these stats, and hopefully someone's going to start recording these data sets. We'll see if we can keep some trends as well. So, Gabe, as part of a promise he did on Reddit a few months ago, he did an AMA. And, there were quite a lot of decent questions, quite a lot of inappropriate ones, and he said a few things that we thought we'd quote back.
Yes, so there was the obvious question about CSGO coming to Linux, and yes, it's been worked on, but no ETA as per Valve standard.
As per Valve time.
Yes, and people have been asking what Gabe uses, if he uses Linux at all, and he has answered with Debian, which is quite surprising. I really wouldn't think that somebody who's productive on his computer uses Debian for everyday work, but there we go.
Hey now.
I mean, it's really good for servers and stuff, but I still wouldn't put it on any kind of workstation machine.
Well, that's what I use for my desktop.
Maybe
so.
he just means SteamOS beta.
But yeah, I mean, having SteamOS based on Debian, I'm sure they've had a lot of experience with it.
Yes. So, and there was also a question about what Valve thinks about Wine and integrating Wine into Steam better or at all, if we are true about that. And he said that there was some value in Wine, but they are rather pushing for native ports.
Yeah, and it sort of reflects in their strategy. They'll patch bugs. Sid the Dummy recently got a Steam client patch because it was having issues with the quantity of processes that wine bottle loads up. But other than that, they are saying they don't want to specifically focus on trying to get wine stuff running.
That's pretty good to hear, though.
Yeah. I personally wouldn't want that. They shouldn't be in the way of developers packaging Wine if they want to, but they should by no means make this any kind of official way of doing things. So, and there was also a question about how developers are reacting to Valve asking them to port to Linux, and he says that there is surprisingly little trouble with them doing it. But then again, the question was about developers and not publishers, so there's a disconnect, I think.
Yeah. From listening to quite a few developers talk, they're very confident now that Valve has said we're going to be working on tools, debuggers, standards for OpenGL and the rest. So I think they're happy that, that it was getting a bit worrisome with Microsoft not saying anything about DirectX, and, they're worried that Apple was basically eating up an awful lot of the gaming space, and Apple doesn't really get on well with anyone.
Didn't you hear the news about DirectX 12?
I did. What else?
Yeah, exactly.
The sentiment on Twitter has been quite meh, at least from devs I follow that may have possibly gone to Steam Dev Days. Only one or two seemed that excited, and one of them was Reppy, who's obviously the Mantle guy from DICE. So you have to wonder what Mantle's purpose was, whether that was to get Microsoft to sort of work harder and update their DirectX. So you never know.
Well, but if you want to read up what else has been said on the Gabe Newell AMA, which to be fair was not only Gabe Newell but a few other Valve devs, head over to valvetime.net. They have a really nice roundup about it. It's not all the questions, but if you want to read all of them, you have to go through the Reddit thread all by yourself, which is horrible, and I would not recommend it.
I can also include a link to SteamDB. They also pulled out, I think, a few more than Valve Time did. But yeah.
So yeah.
The client has had quite a few updates to the beta recently. In-home streaming has had quite a few commits. I mean, last time we spoke about they were cooling off some of their updates, but they've put in quite a few that will actually mean that mid-range computers will stream better. Steam Music has got some more features added. A couple of various crashing issues on Linux, but apart from that...
Yeah, they're both working pretty well for me. I haven't used them extensively, but they seem to. The streaming's been working pretty well, and the music player seems to work okay.
The music player's worked great for me. Streaming has been pretty terrible, but as I've said, it's possibly hardware related.
So yeah, and Bill, before we forget it, I see we haven't included it, us fishy people. Family sharing is now open to everybody.
Oh right, yes, we completely forgot that.
Yes, I just remembered. So, if you want to share with your family or people that are not your family but you want to share with either way, you can do that now without being in the beta.
I heard that they changed some of the way that works. Is that you used to be able to stay logged in, and somebody else could log in and access your games. But now, if you're playing anything, you can't have another family member log in at all.
Oh, well, that's. I mean, I'm currently logged in, and someone I'm sharing with is also logged in. So I see their games. So
yeah, you can be logged in, but you can't touch any game in your library as long as somebody else is touching one.
Oh, okay, that's what it is then.
And yes, Mika, this does work in Linux. This works on Linux, Windows, and OS X.
Yep, I've played 3 games that I don't own that have been shared with me. Prison Architect is one of them. But it's quite surprising how often it sends a notification for this person is now sharing games with you. They really should limit that or something. Right, so let's get on to Greenlight. Quite a few really decent titles got approved this last fortnight. We've pulled out some of the better ones. We will link to the ones that we don't mention now. Crawl. It's a competitive multiplayer dungeon crawler. It appeared on Greenlight one day. The next day, it got greenlit. So that probably explains how good this game is. Everyone on Twitter was talking about it for the whole day.
Especially because of that trailer.
Yes,
seriously,
the trailer is absolutely
watch
brilliant.
Watch that trailer.
But it's quite a neat concept where it's basically a sort of a roguelike, but how Left 4 Dead is, you have a sort of versus mode. You're actually playing against your friends, and I think that's a really good idea.
So yeah, I'm a bit disappointed that they are not planning on going full multiplayer co-op right away. They said they might think about making that internet co-op, but it's local only.
Oh, co-op would be nice, yeah.
It's local only, and I find that a bit hard for a PC game to get like 4 to 5 people around a single monitor. It's not usually something that happens.
Well, with SteamOS, you're going to see it more. Local co-op's really handy when you've got a TV.
Hey, psst!
Speaking as a console gamer.
I have no intention of buying a Steam machine.
That's okay. But I said SteamOS,
And you might just end up building your own just to, play with a TV device.
Because I have all that money to throw around, buy another hardware capable of good gaming, and put it in my living room and don't use it as a productivity machine.
You could just flip your desktop to big picture mode and then just chill out with some friends on your nice big screen.
Or you can just build a cheap machine and just stream everything from your other computer if you just want to be able to sit in the living room.
That would actually be... I want to mention this. Why is the Android app not being updated to include the streaming?
I did ask this in the AMA. I didn't get an answer.
I want that. My Galaxy phone has an HDMI out, has the power to do HD video decoding, has Bluetooth for the controller. Give it to me!
The thing is, the main guy that looked after the Android app left Valve, so I don't really think any of them have that much of an interest in doing it, and I don't think any of them are that interested in going forwards. And what has surprised me is no community members have done it. If you think about how passionate the Steam community is about chipping in to sort of make mods and the rest, that why hasn't someone had a go at making a better Steam mobile client? And as part of that, you could quite easily do an in-home streaming implementation on an Android device. Do you not think?
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's just work to reverse engineer everything, isn't it?
Yeah, why would you want that? If you are that skilled, you might as well earn some money with that skill.
Exactly. Unless, of course, you hope to get hired by Valve, but you never know. Anyway, going back to Greenlight. Decadence. I pulled this out. It's a really interesting third-person RPG. Liverlink, which is a first-person wave-based shooter. Very, very similar to Killing Floor.
And single player only, I think.
It does look it, doesn't it? I don't think they have multiplayer on it.
I've seen this on the Zua first. Haven't bought it because I have not really big interest in that kind of game, but for those that do, it seems to be quite good at what it does.
I pulled out Lost Squad, which is an Alien Swarm mod, which I'm sure Cheese would be quite excited about that, but he's not here to talk about it. It's a first-person parkour-like expansion to Alien Swarm.
But here's me, I don't understand why this is based on Alien Swarm. When I look at the assets, it's completely Half-Life 2, City 17 assets, and it doesn't use the top-down view in Alien Swarm. Why is this not just Source SDK whatever version?
When I watched the trailer, I started writing down Half-Life 2 mod in the show notes, and then of course I scrolled down and said Alien Swarm mod on it. How? What?
Looks more like Sven Co-op.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing, their description, but it's nowhere near as confusing as this next title. Nowhere. I've spoken about this at length because I'm funding it.
All of it.
Not all of it. I'm a founder class member, so I get to create one of the creatures as like an AI character that's in the background. It's pretty hard to explain because it would sound like I was Peter Molyneux.
Please do it. I mean, with your cold, you're excellently nailing that voice. So go ahead, give us a Peter Molyneux.
It's sort of an RPG. You create this creature and you live its life through the universe in the game, and then you die.
And where's the profound stuff?
I don't know how profound it's going to get, but they do talk about it. They talk about religion and science and the rest and everything. But then the next time you play through the game, you're a completely different. You can be a completely different being, but you can also run into yourself from your past life, and it will be behaving in ways that you behaved when you played through it. So it's sort of measuring your RPG-ness and then converting that into an interpreted AI sort of behavior. It sounds really interesting. I follow Panique on Twitter because he spends all his time tweeting about interesting rendering techniques.
Does it help to do a lot of psychedelic drugs when you're playing?
It does have Oculus Rift support, so if you really want to get into the hardcore drugs, I'm sure it would entertain your eyes for hours. But yeah, I'm really excited that that's in. It's going to take a few more years to launch properly, but I don't know what the plans are for sort of early access or something. But I'm sure we'll see. This other game I pulled out, Star Rift. It's a space simulation. Have either of you watched the video for this?
Nope, I am kind of not paying all that much attention to Greenlight anymore because so much is getting greenlit so quickly, and a lot of it is...
Yeah, it's hard to follow.
But this one looks legit. Looks like it could be fun.
The nicest thing is it's got a gameplay trailer that's got some decent gameplay in. Quite a few of the titles of Greenlight I went through sort of looked like they put some screenshots with background music in, and it's like, yeah, can you show me your game, please? Then we have Vendetta Online. This has been around for quite a few years. It's a free and open source space, massively multiplayer online RPG sort of space simulation. It's on Android and Linux, Windows, Mac, other platforms.
They were one of the first MMOs, I think, for Linux that came out.
Yeah, they've been around ages, and I'm happy that they're finally on Steam.
Yeah, I have only ever tried the trial a bit. It was more actiony than Eve, and well, I never got into it because MMOs just don't keep me in them for long. But if I were to start a Spaces MMO now, Vendetta is quite up there on the list.
Yeah, I played it for a few hours, sort of on the Linux side. I found the controls a bit awkward, but yeah, it definitely doesn't have the sort of depth of Eve, and it is sort of more of the shooter than the sort of the marketeer role. And then I had a go playing on Android, and that was just unplayable. I think they're just trying to do too much on that.
Maybe if you have an NVIDIA Shield, this might be quite nice.
But I've got a Tegra 3 device. I mean, it's not that far behind the Tegra 4s, which are in the Shield, so...
Does it have a controller? Because that's what I'm hopping on here.
I do have a controller, yes.
And it's still bad? That's not good.
I don't know if it's just sort of the problem with Android rendering or something, but it just felt a bit laggy. It's just a bad port, I should say, rather than the game being terrible. And they may have patched it since then. I did try that pretty much just after it came to Android, so probably get back in and try that and then report back. Last two other games I pulled out. Vault is a puzzle platformer, quite interesting looking, and Zed, which is a top-down wave-based shooter.
So
Gaming news. This first item you put in, DerRidda?
It's about Leadwerks for Linux, which should release later this month if no big showstoppers show up, because it's in the last phases of beta testing. So if you have it, if you pledged for it or bought it otherwise, it should show up within the month for you, which is nice to hear.
Did you pledge for that?
Yes, I pledged for it, for the Indie Edition, which is already on Steam, but only for Windows so far.
So have you had access to this at all as part of that?
Yes, so I could download it on Windows if I wanted to, but I decided not to. I just want to fully get into it on Windows. On Linux, not on Windows. No.
It's rubbing off on you. Tropico 5 have put out their first gameplay trailer, and it concludes with a mention of Linux. So I think everyone discussing that leaked piece of box art that said PC/Linux, it's finally been confirmed. Tropico 5 is coming.
Yes, and I'm quite excited about that. I have been missing good city builders on Linux, which are not FreeCiv because that's not good, or Free, or SimCity Remake, which is also not good. But this one looks nice. It seems to spread a lot, over 200 years or so, from the 1800s to the near future. So
definitely looks like a really good game, yeah.
Yeah, let's hope they are not botching this up.
So I haven't played any Tropico. I know my twin sister has, so I've seen bits of it in action. Have either of you two?
I have not, but I've heard quite a bit about it. It just seems like it's a mix of a SimCity and a kind of a comical tyrant game, I guess.
I think that description nails it.
I have never played any of the older Tropicos either, but I had a girlfriend once that was going on about this game quite a bit. Never got around to playing it. So yeah, still looking forward to it.
Right, we have some other news. Shelter and PID are both getting ported to Linux fairly soon. I don't think they've put a date out though, so it's quite exciting. Shelter is you play a badger looking after its... What are badger cubs? Are they cubs?
I think.
I am not sure. You're a mother badger looking after little badgers.
Badger babies.
And if you fail, they get brutally killed by predators, so don't fail.
Don't fail. And PID is a platformer.
And there's also another city builder on our list here. It's an independently developed city builder game based on all the web technology in the world, WebGL, HTML5, JavaScript, and it promises to not simulate individual poop blobs.
No.
It's ripping on the SimCity remake quite a bit, so...
I literally thought, what are they on about? But yeah, they're referring to those subsystems.
It's quite early on, there's not really a lot to see asset-wise, but they are talking about, or the single developer, I might say, is talking about the AI agents and all the simulation, which already seems quite impressive.
So is this a crowdfunding thing, or...?
I think it's a private donation-driven project, more like a hobbyist thing. I don't even know yet. I have not given that person any money, but I will keep an eye on that, and if it turns out nice, I might give that person money.
We don't even know if it's open source or anything.
No, but...
Okay, so it's donate to help thing better. Got it.
If I had the license promise here, I would probably jump in it, but...
Fair enough.
We will see. I keep an eye on that one, definitely.
So for all you powder puff girls that are waiting for a game to be based on it, it's coming on the 14th of March.
And it will be on Linux, and that is the end of Linux gaming. We can't do better now. We have won. We have won it all. It's done.
After that magical horse game,
Horses, Powerpuff Girls, if we...
This snowball is rolling.
Isn't that My Little Pony card game also on Linux?
I don't know.
I mean, we did it. We totally did it.
Yeah, we did.
There's a My Little Pony mod for Amnesia, and that just looks absolutely terrible.
I might have to play with that, actually, since the game scares me so much.
But I'm surprised. When you look at the screenshot, I didn't even know there was a new Powerpuff Girls out, and it looks different than the old one.
It's probably a reboot.
Yes. I have no interest in Powerpuff Girls. I never watched it, but stop messing with my childhood, even if it was just tangentially near me. Don't mess with it.
Are you a Brony Classic kind of guy?
No.
Well, at least they say that you have the option to turn it back to the classic mode, so that's good.
Yes.
Right, so an eagle-eyed person on the Linux gaming Reddit, Shisht, I think is how you say his name, spotted that NVIDIA are bringing their Gameworks and Flameworks to Linux soon. Those are simulation libraries that model stuff like waves and flames in sort of voxelization forms. And in conjunction with that, physics library is part of it.
Is that pretty new, or are there a lot of games that use it?
Well, I remember the Gameworks being demoed sometime last year. I think they were sort of talking about it for industrial use and the rest. But
that video talks about use on MMO servers.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's kind of interesting, at least. The NVIDIA are sort of stepping up and bringing their software APIs over.
Yeah.
Indeed. If they bring SLI over next, there's no difference between the Windows version and the Linux version of their drivers anymore. Physics on GPU and all the features included. Shadowplay next, please. And AMD can go home forever.
They can work harder on optimizing their drivers first.
That's
as soon as they've got the excuse of SLI, they'll just be like, buy 2 Titans.
Yeah, that is true, but compared to our other options on Linux, they are the AAA game.
Being a bit cheeky.
So yeah, next on our list, Frictional Games show a new trailer for Soma, and it seems to be the first in-engine trailer and shows a lot of spooky space environments and some voiceovers. Sets up the story nicely, so I recommend everybody watches it.
Yeah, they've been releasing some trailers for that for a while. The first one was like just a live-action video, which really set up the stage, but it was kind of creepy.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, but
it's interesting how they've managed to sort of subtly get the lore in without explaining anything. They're just sort of teasing little bits of how the world's going to be. I think it's great.
But in the end, all live-action trailers and stuff are nice, but gameplay counts.
Yes,
definitely,
of course. But yeah, really excited for that. At the moment, there are some Humble bundles working. The Humble Indie Bundle just closed out, so I hope all of you picked that up already. The current Humble Bundle is the Devolver Digital Bundle. There are 5 games, 5 films, and 2 of them, only 2 of them are on Linux. But that's Duke Nukem 3D Megaton Edition and Shadow Warrior Classic Redux. So they're 2 pretty good legacy titles, but they're fresh, fairly fresh ports, so, definitely worth getting.
But that's not even the main bundle, is it?
The main one's an Android bundle.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I picked up that last one with Dust, and that was a lot better game than I expected. I hadn't tried it before that.
Dust's a great game. It really surprised me.
And your name's in the credits.
Yeah, many hours trying to break that. And I still don't think I put enough time in testing, but you can only put in as much time as you can, really.
Well, it seemed a pretty solid port.
Yeah. Monaco, another really good game in that.
Yeah.
Actually, in fact, that whole bundle, brilliant games.
Any standout titles in the Android bundle? I mean, some people might care about that here.
Riptide is reasonable. Vector, I don't know the other ones, sadly. I would have to look it up, so I wasn't confident in mentioning them.
Yeah, Settlers of Catan is a real classic, so for that alone it might be worth it.
Is that strictly Android, or do they have Linux ports too?
That's one of these strictly Android mobile bundles.
Oh, okay. Some of the previous Android ones also had Linux versions.
Yeah, but I guess they stopped that because it's much easier to get content together if you only target Android.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Devolver bundle is that at the moment inaccessible through the main page of Humble Bundle? I only see the Humble Bundle link, the Humble Weekly, and the Humble Store, and Amnesia Fortnite.
Yeah.
There's no direct link.
Maybe they've run out of space for it. They mentioned it on Twitter, and I don't know if they sent an email out yet, but yeah, that seems a bit short-sighted. When did Amnesia Fortnite end? Is that still ongoing?
It seems to still be going for 23 days. Dang.
23 days remaining? Wow.
Oh, bloody hell. Well, that's going to be blocking all their other things. Yeah, wow.
So yeah, plenty of time. So, and apparently, because we have to admit none of us have paid attention to crowdfunding at the moment, we are already at the end of this week's, or this fortnight's cast.
Yes, that was quite terse.
Well, we managed our runtime for once.
Anyone in the audience, have any of you not got Dust? That's Dust and Elysian Tale on Steam. Because I have a Humble gift code if you'd like it. Anyone?
Look at that. All these people are loyal Humble Bundle buyers.
Well, good.
Well, might as well throw it on Twitter and see who grabs it.
The problem I have with Twitter is as soon as I put a link in like that, it's gone. Even if I say, please reply so that I know it's gone, a bot will take it or something. It's really annoying.
Yeah, that's right. I did that a week ago or so for an extra game I had, and I got a mail from somebody who wanted it, who wasn't even following me, and nobody retweeted that. And it was already gone before that guy got it. So...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the problem. I noticed it when I did Was it the EA one where I pretty much gave away all my Origin keys or something? Because I was like, no, don't need these games. I just wanted it for Battlefield 3.
So PSA, don't put Humble Bundle links on Twitter because they just get bots gobbled up and they will probably want money for that or something. Or
Never put any keys down on Twitter or any links. Basically, only give them to friends or just stash them up and sort of email them to us. cast@steamlug.org.
yeah, exactly.
We will gladly give them away. Right, so you have been listening to SteamLUG Cast. Thank you for turning up. You can send us email, cast@steamlug.org, and we're happy to listen. Sorry about my voice, but I'm sure by the time you got here, you cope with it. Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.